But don't focus on the front, on the outside. Focus on the inside to see what is happening to you. And be honest. Don't ever be afraid of having imperfections, because true perfection simply doesn't exist within humanity.
Hello, my name is Zenka Caro. I'm founder of LightNet, and my passion and purpose is to make the impossible possible. We are here today with Eliana Estefanía Wnetrzak, who is the founder of the Academia Miguel. She studies the hierarchy of angels and brings this down into the spiritual science that is incredible knowledge around the vibratory multidimensional world that we live in. I have seen her heal people, and it's nothing short of a miracle. Over and over and over again in a room of 30 people. It was unbelievable. She has really taken ancient wisdom, combined it with modern science, and she's presented over 200 times around the world, and she has over 1,000 students. Check it out.
What exactly is my passion? My passion is love. And it is all about true freedom. My passion is finding love in every person when they can't love themselves in the darkness. We're always used to everything being beautiful, but it's not always like that. God created duality, God created sadness and suffering, and my passion is to love both. That is my passion. There was no moment I said, like, this is what I'll do, this is what I came to do. In fact, I didn't go to it, it came to me. I studied, did my own thing, opened my beauty salons and so on, and this was simply happening. It wasn't something I was trying to force, it was something my soul was meant to do. I didn't have a choice, it just happened. And it wasn't that at some point I said, okay, yes, this is my calling. Because in fact, I don't even say that to this day. Oh yes, this is absolutely my kind of thing. Because what in life ever truly remains permanent? Nothing. Our jobs are nothing at all. Nothing. Children grow, houses are built, all things are made. Everything dies and is born all the time. So I can't say this is mine. This is today. Tomorrow, I don't know. The important thing is to be able to enjoy that new thing that's coming. Oh man, well, where do I even start? Because it's very long. But since I was little, I had many connections with many beings that at that moment weren't so positive. By positive, I mean they didn't tell me very nice things, they were more destructive, they connected me more with the astral plane. I saw deceased people who were perhaps lost in emotional entanglements, and I could talk a lot about these. But that was my learning. My learning was in darkness, and everything I share about the astral is based on my experience communicating with direct astrals, whether through possession of a body or by looking in a mirror, simply speaking telepathically with them. That was like my beginning. Everyone sometimes thinks I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and that everything in life was wonderful for me and everything was divine, and that, oh yes, I'm talking to Archangel Michael. No, the truth is no, and I had a somewhat complicated childhood with a mother's absence, a father's absence. And so all of that was creating the human being that I am today. I'll give you an example. I've had many conflicts with my maternal side. She has assaulted me many times, to the point of wishing me to somehow depart from this earthly plane. And what that did was create a profound shift within me, to open myself to unconditional love, free from judgment. That's why today when I see people, I see anyone of any religion, of any background. As I was telling a friend the other day, I see murderers, rapists. I see everyone, because love is for all, God is for all, not just for one. The most difficult thing, it's about not losing the stability of our connection to humanity. Because when you have that permanent connection with who you truly are, that divinity within your heart, it's incredibly joyful, and it can even become addictive. But we are here to be human beings, and we must strive to improve ourselves. And that's what we're here for, to collaborate with planetary change. We must improve as human beings. First, by being honest and breaking free from automatic responses. That's fundamental. So the balance is between humanity and heaven. It's bringing heaven down to earth, not earth up to heaven. Otherwise, we'll be spaced out all day. So sometimes I get a little lost in those conversations, in that information that takes me away from my present and my sense of humanity. So that's when I always have to be observing myself to see how far I go. It's important to observe the ego. The ego is the personality you were given, the one you formed with your parents. And the ego always has a tendency to want recognition, it has its needs, its shortcomings, especially with a traumatic childhood. So it's crucial to work on your humanity, to connect with the celestial or extraterrestrial or whatever you want to call it. It's fundamental, because otherwise you're just filling your shortcomings with that ethereal aspect, but you're not loving your own humanity. I believe that's one of the things that, I won't say it's difficult for me, but it's something I'm still working on. That I am looking at him all the time. It's extremely important. Not even I know what I am, huh? So I can give you tons of personalities. I can give you tons of things. My character is Eliana Estefanía Wnetrzak, who studied dermatocosmetology, esthetician, psychology, psychopharmacology, psychogerontology, daughter of, sister of, right? Is that understood? That is my personality, which has all its shortcomings, which has its emotional cysts, and so on. And then we have a heart, the divinity that dwells within us, which coexists with many planes, the planes they call extraterrestrial, Zulmas, Pleiadians, Syrians, Arcturians, and the infinitely, because creation is infinite. We can't grasp it with our minds, we can only feel it with our hearts. So, what can I tell you about who I am? I simply am, that's it.
Okay, but for the people who we were perhaps going to cut some videos for that interview, but to explain a little bit about how to work with people. That is to say, people come, we sit down, I connect. Just to give a little bit of context. Yeah.
My work style? Okay, yes, I get carried away. All right, well, what exactly are Miguelian healings? Miguelian healings are connections from soul to soul. When we come here, we lock up our hearts, our very divinity, in a tiny cage, like a little bird, and we don't let them be free. How many times have you found yourself saying, well, I must do this, but my heart wants to do that, right? So we keep adding layers, we keep boxing it in, and we don't allow that divinity that comes to experience itself to simply express. So we cover it so much that we no longer even know who we are, what we want, or where we're going. And I did what was politically correct or what I was supposed to do, and yet I feel empty, I feel hollow. That's because the divinity that is within you isn't opening or expanding as it should by accepting it and giving it the command that you fear. Yes, it brings you uncertainty because it will take you through emotional oscillations. What is that? Ultimately, that's what it all comes down to. The emotional oscillation that brings you that wisdom of the heart, so you can then express it to others. There is no such thing as eternal happiness. It is merely an illusion of the ego. Do you understand? So Miguelian healings are about connecting directly with that heart, beyond what their mind could ever possibly imagine or conceive. That's why I always give this example. Lots of people come and say, well, I came, Eliana, to heal this tiny little finger because this tiny little finger hurts me like this. Sa, 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 sa. Yes, my love, whatever you wish. The ego is very superficial. Perhaps this little finger worries you, but in reality, you need to heal your maternal grief. Because you've denied it, because you have a deep-seated hang-up, or let's say a subconscious notion that you must always be strong, and so you don't allow yourself to experience any grief in your life. what's more important, that or the little finger? So many times people come and say, oh, I was happy at home drinking mate. I don't know. I said I'd come here. I walk in and I feel like crying. Why do I feel like crying if I'm fine? You think you're fine because you lie to yourself all the time. And then the heart begins to pound like a rapid heartbeat. Ta 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 ta. Because it wants to be free, it wants to let go of everything it's been holding, that it's been holding on to for who knows how long, including previous generations, what they didn't resolve emotionally. They didn't resolve. No. When I say resolve, it's not an equation. When I say resolve, it's simply to accept and truly love the moment as it is, whatever the emotion may be, even if it makes you feel like you're dying. Because when you feel pain, you feel like you're dying. It's a pain where you say, I'm dying. But then you realize that you're not dying. And what happens then? You are reborn. You are born again. That is a healing from Archangel Michael. It's about recognizing ourselves from every single...
The passion for the mission. It's what truly feeds your very spirit. It's anything that makes you feel deep joy and peace, which doesn't mean it has to remain that way indefinitely. And I want to clarify this point once again. We often hold the belief that our life's purpose must unfold in a very specific manner. Let's decide that my life's mission here is to be a artist and I'm going to be a artist for 40 years. No, after 40 years of being an artist, you'll be tired and you'll say, okay, the practice is very nice, but because nothing in life remains static, everything transforms and your life's mission transforms as well. It's always transforming, it's always changing, so all the time. Today, for example, I do this, but I used to do it differently. 2 years ago and 3 years ago, it was different. And 4 years ago, it was different. And when I was little, I did it and I didn't even know what the hell I was doing. Do you understand? And it was different also because my belief was different, because my unconscious still had patterns where it believed in this good and evil, in that war. And when you find oneness and when you realize you are a child of God and that you create your reality based on your emotions and what you hold in your unconscious, everything absolutely changes. The mission of life is simply to live in the present, to nourish your spirit and just let it transform if it needs to. I'll go back to the example of when people ask me, Ellie, how do you see yourself 40 years from now? 40 years from now, I don't have the faintest idea of how I'm going to look. Perhaps my life's mission is to have a child. And that is a great life's mission. Why? Because you could be a mother who has a special child, who has gifts, who hears, who sees. And then instead of taking him to a psychiatrist, accompanying him through that process, I actually work with many children. In fact, I have groups of kids in Capilla del Monte who work with me, who have gifts. That they are emotionally treated as if they were crazy, that they are called this, that, and all sorts of things, that they are beings who come to continue giving the message of love. Yes, it is. I close my eyes because I'm very much into sensations. It's when I close my eyes, I feel everything. I feel everything, even before I walk in. Many times I feel people's anxiety, I feel their nerves, I feel the pressure in their chest that are like this, and people straining as if saying, no, what's happening to me? I don't know if I'm having a panic attack. I'm going to have a heart attack. I have tachycardia. I'm feeling all of that within me. And in that moment, as I stand here, I'm also perceiving how some hearts are already automatically opening on their own and releasing. They're opening, letting go of whatever they need to let go of, wherever they might have an emotional blockage. Where I have a physical or non-physical illness, because sometimes the symptoms are there, but there's no diagnosis as such, and that's the pre-stage, you see. But they are emotional cysts, they are emotions that are trying to, this is scientifically proven by biodecoding with Hammer's focus, isn't it? When you have an emotion, Hammer's focus forms in the brain. It tries to fix that emotion you don't process in an organ like, say, your throat, etc. But it doesn't mean the emotion goes away. You heal your throat, you heal the tonsils, the emotion returns later. It's like taking a moment of relief to rest from that emotional vibration you don't dare to accept and love. From the very dawn of recorded time, we have known about separation. That is something we are already well aware of. So why don't we make an effort to unite? Why don't we try, with each of us holding our own beliefs, respecting one another, to accomplish something for the world? My call is to all religious leaders. I will sit at that table and say, all right, we know that each person has their own theory, their own truth, and so on and so forth. We all possess the ability to create our own truth every single day. That truth is yours. Fantastic, brilliant. I love it. I bless you. I'm really enjoying myself. I find her to be quite victorious. All right, let's do something. Something together. Whether you're Catholic, evangelical, Taoist, whatever it may be, it all leads to one single purpose. It all serves to nourish the spirit. Why don't we try something different and cease repeating the mental routine of what is supposedly politically correct, what constitutes truth, and who truly possesses it? Connect with your heart and let go of so many things that are just beliefs, because we have so many beliefs that are ingrained in us from the moment we are born, and everything we read, which was written by someone else based on a concept they had at some particular time, it's understood that it's real, that it's real. Real is now. Real is what we are feeling. And if you believe that, and I think this is wonderful, but what do you feel? Do you feel like giving love? Do you feel like supporting others? Do you feel like seeing yourself? All right, let's go. No matter what you believe, no matter who you are, let's shed the suit and simply offer our hearts and hands. That is my life's dream.
Listen, feel, and observe when you sense things. In that moment when you are with someone and it gives you a feeling, what is happening to you? But don't focus on the front, on the outside. Focus on the inside to see what is happening to you. And be honest. Don't ever be afraid of having imperfections, because true perfection simply doesn't exist within humanity. But don't focus on the front, on the outside. Focus on the inside to see what is happening to you. And be honest. Don't ever be afraid of having imperfections, because true perfection simply doesn't exist within humanity. See a gym, I'm going to train, boom, bang, pow. And suddenly I meet a woman who has very suggestive leggings with a very, very revealing top, right? So I start with the criticism. And I start, oh, look how she comes to the gym. Is she coming to train or is she coming to show off? Dala, stop. Because I know that many people find themselves in that very position. Criticism is the easiest thing to do. Any criticism you make will always speak about you, not about someone else. What's really happening inside is that you don't feel good about yourself, and you'd love to have that butt, and you'd love that sports outfit to fit you just like that. So where do you look then? Outside or inside? No, deep inside, I feel envy. And for that, you need to have real guts and courage and say, yes, I feel envy. What can I do to change this? I take care of myself. I need to love myself. I need to take care of myself with food, exercise. I need, dye my hair. I need whatever your temple needs for you to feel complete, but for you, not for others, not for approval, because that is an emotional void. Simply so that you wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and say, wow, today I feel great. So that's it. That would be the main piece of advice. Every single emotion that makes itself present, this is just one example, and it's a very typical local one, but every emotion that makes itself present, you must always observe it. Your partner is a great teacher. All that anger that sometimes makes you lash out because they don't do things as they should, or as you'd like, or not this or that. Well, all of that is pure magic for your soul, because the person is who they are and love is unconditional. On the condition that this love does not have any negative effect, deeply in a hurtful way. I'm talking about, we're not going to say unconditional love to a man who hits you, for example, right? That right there is teaching you self-love and all that. But I'm referring to what happens to you with that. For example, I don't know, my husband leaves his stuff lying around and I go crazy, and your husband leaves his stuff lying around because that's just how he is. Now, what's your problem with that? What does it take to pick them up for 2 seconds and fold them? Can we talk? Yes, of course we can talk, but it's always about you, and your partner's the strongest teacher you'll ever have. Where everyone is truly focused on their mission, it would cease to be a mission then, because humanity would no longer care about such things. That is what the ego is. Do you understand what I mean? They would simply exist. They would simply be, nothing more than that. It's like wanting to project an eternally happy world. Pause. And what would there be in an eternally happy world? Pause. Where there's nothing, no war, no fighting, no arguments, no opposing emotions stirred by another person. Everything is positive, everything is beautiful. Pause. How would you even know? Do you understand? If everyone were on their own mission, it would no longer be a world searching for a mission. It would be a oneness, simply existing. Do you understand? That's why we really need to enjoy the present moment. It's truly beautiful to be human and to have this unique opportunity of duality, to be able to truly know yourself, to feel yourself in all aspects of life, both the earthly and the spiritual ones. We are all in a time of great change, and we are searching for that. I always share this thought. Whatever your search, it is valid. There is neither good nor bad. If going to church and praying the rosary makes you feel good and you feel it fills your spirit, that's enough. When it stops filling your spirit and you start having doubts and want to change, that's great. If you want to go to the evangelical church, pray, ask for the Holy Spirit. I love the evangelical church. And feel the fire of God in your heart and nourish your spirit. That's great. And if you like to go meditate and chant Om, and if you like to read books on metaphysics, and if you like whatever you feel truly nourishes your spirit. You know, when your spirit feels joyful, when your heart is full, it's like that peace that makes time stand still and lets you enjoy the scent of flowers, the breeze caressing your face, the textures of the fabric, the temperature of the place, where it allows you to truly be yourself. That's why, to me, there are no religions, good or bad, not this one, not that one, not any other. Every single thing is perfect in its own time, and it is absolutely necessary. We cannot at times wish to run when we are just barely taking our first steps. Because that's ego.
They always tell me, oh, Ila, yes, because you cured my cancer, or you cured this, I didn't heal you. Eliana Estefanía Wnetrzak is taking care of her humanity, her life, trying to get her rest, to deal with their emotional needs and shortcomings. Yes, of all that deep internal work. The moment I stand before that person, the only thing I do is open my heart, open myself as a channel, and simply let love do what it is meant to do. I am not doing anything at all. And when a person opens up to their inner self, they heal themselves. Do you understand what I mean? Let's imagine for a moment a person who has gastritis or an ulcer in their stomach. So the heart opens, and my heart, in a way, to give it symbolism, but no. In the heart, there is no symbolism, no form, there is nothing, right? It opens and tells you, well, you've been enduring since you were little, taking care of your parents. That's why you have that ulcer in your stomach that your grandfather had 7 generations ago, who had been enduring.
Is that clear? Good. So, my heart is asking your heart this question. Do you truly wish to surrender to that pain and declare, I am so tired, I no longer want this? At that very moment, you automatically step into your own darkness. The darkness truly hurts. You cry, you scream, you vomit, etc. Once you expel all of that, your organ begins to heal because that emotion is no longer deeply rooted within that organ. That's why I do nothing.
a person heals on their own. When they accept themselves, when they truly love themselves. I'm just standing there. And in fact, sometimes I have mental songs playing. Sometimes I sing Karol G. Because no, in fact, if I start to take action and want to achieve something, I simply limit it because I'm doing it with my thoughts. And our thinking has a limit. Do you understand? If I say, well, I'm going to take this out here, I'm going to operate here, I'm going to do. That doesn't exist. That is not real. That's an ego fantasy to feel important. Quite simply, this is a message that I would like to give to all the channels. At present, there are many channels that are kind of misguided. Misguided is they need to introduce themselves, right? Hello, how are you? I'm Pepito Juarez. I'm this and that. I studied at some fancy pants place, master of masters, of little master, of baloney, right? It's as like the Dustes countries is saying, and I have to tell you right now, this very moment, what your grandfather was telling you, it's like those are disorganized channels seeking approval or covering up an emotional issue they haven't worked on themselves. So when we find ourselves off track in that particular moment, we are not doing the will of God. God, Father, Mother, Creator, the universe, universal energy, our higher selves. Use the name that resonates most with you. Is that clear? And on the Samiason has been happening since the earliest times. Yes, it was in ancient Egypt when was in Odas, or Samaskiantas when knowledge was acquired. Many used it from ego. On as Afro-Brazilian religions and all related to managing astral beings have also been taken by ego. Understood? For they, in truth, come to accompany our process. They come to help us. But someone discovered that they were dual in nature and that they could materialize things and that they could work for a double side. Because the celestial kingdom only knows one polarity. Understood. So, one has to stay firm in oneself, connect with oneself, be honest with oneself. Look, are we always going to have something? We're always going to have something. That doesn't exist because many times I'll do an individual session. So, okay, yeah, go ahead. How are you? How are you doing? So. Tell me, how do you get along with your mother? And the first thing they say is, oh no, I already processed my mother in a constellation. I processed her in, I don't know what, I processed her in can healing, blah, blah, blah. And why are you crying? Because we will always be working on ourselves. That is what we came here for. It is not just working, it is self-experimenting and accepting ourselves. Because work sounds hard. It sounds like a duty. And it is not a duty, it is a joy. It is a joy. Today I am going through this. I become flexible with it. I accept it. Does it hurt? Of course it hurts. But it's the only way to transform myself and be better and be a purer channel to accompany the other's process. Because that's all we do is to accompany the other's process. More than that, we cannot do. No one heals anyone. The only thing that heals is love and faith. Throughout the years, we measure time and space as past, future, and all that whole thing. Well, in the past, I've reincarnated and died many times trying to deliver messages. Well, now it's my turn at this precise moment, and the soul simply did it so many times that it did it automatically. What do I mean? I started with a cleanse. You see, I wasn't born eating just lettuce and... No. I mean, I used to go dancing, worked at night, smoked. I'd smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, drank wine, was foul-mouthed. I was a girl from the neighborhood, from the slums. So you understand where I'm going, what I'm getting at. Then the soul said, okay, that's it. You've experienced this, you've lived it. Now your purification has arrived. And I simply stopped tolerating gluten. I quit smoking. I quit drinking. I quit so many things. And I began to open up to myself, to truly open up to myself. I began to realize more and more things. And one fundamental thing I realized, which was and still is my greatest teacher to this very day, my mother, it is absolutely crucial not to fall into the ego when we awaken wisdoms deep within our hearts, because it truly belongs to our hearts, not to our ego. Is that understood? Because one can easily lose their way on that path. The soul can become disassociated from such a strong desire to be recognized or whatever emotional lack or void you might be carrying, because everything ultimately is rooted in our emotions. In fact, even before we incarnate, we already have a vision of our parents. We know what is coming through the family lineage. We need the mat to have a certain vibration to be able to enter that space. Imagine a painting like this with a lot of points and lines, right? Which is where life is written and where you'll encounter souls you already know. Because souls, look, I don't believe in a God who divides. I don't believe in a God who chooses some and not others.
God is for everyone. Up to this point, is it understood? Good.
So all the souls incarnated today, we incarnated in the same eras, finding each other as different characters, experiencing ourselves. Are we clear so far? Well, we have that blueprint. We have, let's say, souls wanting to incarnate in that self-experimentation that comes with the parents, the lineage, and the day it's born, the day it arrives, when that, let's say, that vibrational level is created for it to come. Light is produced because in conception, light is made. See ya? And the moment light is made, it automatically takes the star's information. The star's information is the zodiac sign and the ascendant. I know nothing of astrology, but I can tell you, based on helping people, I've helped thousands. Your zodiac sign will show that emotional block you'll face, that yeah, I see, and your ascendant, how you'll handle it. Everything is connected, it's all one, nothing is separate. Somewhere down everywhere na kuna on so seven, everything we are one. So mamasik can map on how much do we truly feel it in our hearts. Now post on komasasai, is this clear? Post on masai. Imagine this very scene I'm describing with the lines, with the points where we meet here, where we incarnate, with an ovum and sperm. As it is above, so it is below, the macro and the microcosm. It's all about that, a constant expansion and experimentation.